Low rider. Low and slow. That's how you should be thinking about this. Bitcoiners of all levels, anytime you're trying something new, you should be taking things low and slow. And I'm going to explain that with the help of my co-host, actually the CEO of the 88 Sats radio channel, Arnie Boy. We're going to be talking about low and slow, what it means. So I came up with this term last couple weeks. And usually when I say things randomly, I forget about them instantly, but people often reach out and say, "Hey, I really like this analogy," or "I really like the way you talked about this," or "I really like this video." And so in this video, I'm going to explain what I mean by low and slow. I'm going to share a couple different resources for you. And hopefully at the end of this, you have a different perspective and you're less intimidated to try new things in Bitcoin. So let's start with low. The low part of this means low risk. In other words, whenever you're trying something new, whether that's buying Bitcoin on an exchange for the first time, or sending Bitcoin from an exchange to a wallet, or swapping from on-chain to Lightning, you should always take very low risk moves, right? So it could be $10 worth of Bitcoin, it could be $50 worth of Bitcoin. Whatever that amount is, you won't miss it. So if you do happen to screw something up, everybody's going to go through these different lessons within Bitcoin. What you want to do is minimize the damage. And so if you're doing things at a very low risk in terms of dollar and sat amount, you're going to be much better off. And even if something does go wrong, you're going to be okay. You're going to survive. Again, keep in mind here that every single person who's in Bitcoin today has made some stupid moves one way or the other, whether that was buying XRP, using a ledger or a tangent, anything like that, opening a Lightning address and then getting a new phone and forgetting to restore that to your old wallet or moving the sats off of there. Every single person, I guarantee, who's been in Bitcoin for a year or two, they've made some mistakes. And so again, the whole point here is you want to minimize that. So you should never be intimidated to try new things within Bitcoin. You just want to make sure that you're using very low amounts, low risk, and that you won't be burned too bad. So that's the low part. The second part is slow. And this goes along the same kind of lines as this. You should never be in a rush to do anything within Bitcoin. Even if you're a little bit worried about your security setup, if you're worried about the exchange that the sats are on, some things are a little bit more urgent than others. But for the most part, you should never be in a rush to do anything in Bitcoin. And I can't tell you how many messages and emails I've received from people with a big SOS, I lost my Bitcoin. And usually the first thing I tell people is just take a deep breath. Like, it's probably fine. I know you don't really understand how the whole thing works, especially for newer Bitcoiners, but unless something catastrophic happened here, or you really messed up badly, there's probably a way to recover that Bitcoin. So just take a deep breath, take it slow. Don't do anything stupid. That's usually when people make mistakes, is when they try to fix what they think happened and then they screw things up even more. So always just take a deep breath, take it slow. Anytime you're going through anything within Bitcoin, just take it very slow. And I tell people that all the time with their Bitcoin security. So there's kind of different tiers within Bitcoin security and how you're actually protecting your sats. So the first one is like a Bitcoin ETF or Bitcoin on an exchange. So if you're using something like River or ShakePay, and you're actually just keeping the Bitcoin with them in your wallet, that's kind of the first step. Very simple. You shouldn't be any sort of rush to move it off there. Both are very reputable companies. And again, unless something catastrophic happens, your Bitcoin's probably going to be fine. So from there, you move to like a hot wallet, which would be Aqua, Sparrow. Those are kind of the two main ones that I would suggest anyways. Moon Wallet, maybe. You move it from the exchange into that hot wallet and you take custody of that because you have the 12 or 24 word private key recovery phrase to that Bitcoin. From there, you look into something like a hardware device, like a cold card, a passport, a Jade, something that the keys are generated offline from a device, and you use air-gapped SD cards. It never touches the internet. That's cold storage. From there, you go into a multi-sig, and then from there, you go into encrypting your recovery phrases and actually geographically dispersing your private keys in different parts or different countries or different continents even. But the thing is, you have to take that one step at a time. You can't shortcut Bitcoin. You have to take it slow. You have to be methodical with it. Again, it's just like driving a car. And I use this analogy all the time. I think it was actually Bodhi who shared this analogy with me. And I just love it because it makes so much sense. When you're first learning to drive a car, nobody hands you the keys and you just hit the road and drive around town, drive on the highway. That's not how it works. You always have to go through some training. You have somebody sitting there right beside you who's telling you some tips, best practices, what to look out for, what to do next. You have an emergency brake there if you get going too fast. That's how you should treat this in Bitcoin. And whether you hire somebody to help you with it, or you just take a lot of your own time and actually learn from different people on YouTube. Because you have to keep in mind here that when you're learning about Bitcoin at any stage, whether you're brand new to this or you're trying to improve your security setup, pretty much all this information is available online for free. The hard part is knowing who you can trust and knowing the order to do things in, and also what you don't know, right? Because you can search for anything, but if there's a whole bunch of things that you're completely unaware of, that free information isn't going to be very beneficial to you. So sometimes it's going to be an investment. Either way, you're going to have to invest your time to learn this stuff, or you're going to have to invest money to hire somebody. You're essentially your training driver's ed guy or girl to sit with you to make sure that you don't do anything stupid or make any fatal errors right off the start. But that's kind of how you should be thinking about this. So low risk and take it very slow, low and slow. And the resources that I want to share with you today are number one, I did a video with Rajat a little while ago. I'm going to link it in the pinned comments here and in the show notes. And we did about an hour breakdown of all the different ways to secure your Bitcoin, the pros, the cons, what to look out for. It was a very good conversation, and Rajat was very good with the visuals on that video. So I think it's a good shareable video for people newer to Bitcoin or looking to upgrade their security, and also your friends and family who are just getting into Bitcoin. So bookmark this video. I'm going to share it in the pinned comments, and you can hold on to this one and again, share it if you'd like to, and watch it if you'd like to. So that's one. The other thing too there is that if you do want to hire somebody to help you, our new company, Bitcoin Citadel, we actually just released our website this week. So I'm going to direct you towards that as well in the pinned comments and in the show notes. Check things out. We have 6 different advisors on there with 6 different unique skill sets within Bitcoin. And we are more than happy to help you with whatever you need. And one of the things that we do differently at Bitcoin Citadel than anybody else that I've seen anyways, is we have something called value for value. So you don't have to purchase like 5 hours of time if you don't really know what you're doing yet and you don't know what you need, or 10 hours of time, or pay a bunch of money right off the hop. We have a value for value thing where you can set up a call with us, whether that's 15, half an hour, and you can basically pay us whatever you feel it was worth to you. And from there, we can kind of make a plan going forward on what you might need, what's going to be worth your time to look into, and kind of the next steps from there. So I'm going to link that in the show notes here. But if you do know what you need, we have options on there for like hardware devices, setting up a node, a security health check to make sure, just get a second opinion on how you're storing your Bitcoin right now and making it a little bit better. And of course, our 21 Sats security and inheritance solution that we have on there. So one thing we're doing is this week up until June 21st, if you make a purchase on the Bitcoin Citadel website, you're going to be entered in for a draw for a free cold card Q. And I'm going to tell you, your odds are probably going to be pretty big right now, or pretty good right now, because we haven't really talked about this very much. We haven't spent any money promoting it or advertising it or anything. There's not a whole lot of people that know about this. So if you are somebody who's been procrastinating and you have a little bit of urgency to get better security over your Bitcoin, I can't think of a better way than this. So again, anybody who books a call using the website is going to be entered into a draw for a cold card queue and a 1-hour session with me. So just wanted to point that out. It's for the next couple of days here, depending on when you watch this, but it's going to be available until June 21st. All the names, everybody who purchases something on the website is going to be entered in for a free cold card queue shipped directly from CoinKite, not from me, and a 1-hour session with me. So I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, low and slow. It's a good approach to doing anything new in Bitcoin. And you're going to have to invest a bit of time, either time or money, with somebody like Bitcoin Citadel. So that's what I got for you today. The last thing I would say here is have a good day. I was going to spend a little bit more time, but that's it. Have yourselves an amazing day today. I hope today is the best day of your life whenever you're watching this. And I appreciate you being here. So we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.